July 4th is gonna be like next week.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, the weekend after that, right? It'll be the 28th next week. 2 weeks away
Nope.
from July 4th.
No, because I mean next week is the 28th, but like that's because it's the same week on the calendar. And since it's a Wednesday, July 1st.
Next Saturday is the 27th, and the Saturday following that is the 4th.
I was thinking because we're already on the week as it is, we kind of already started the week. Oh, I guess we.
Oh yeah, in a mere 13 days, it'll be July 4th. Do you just hang up on me again?
No, I muted myself because I wanted to see if everything was audible on the Twitch side of the stream.
Did I give you a headache and then you threw up?
No.
How's your McDonald's apple pie, by the way?
I don't have that. I didn't go to anywhere. I just had a coffee cake that I got from Safeway.
Why don't you come over here? We'll make you a real apple pie.
I think I've actually had a real apple pie, so it's not like I haven't had a real apple pie.
Oh my god, did you see him dance around the answer?
On top of that, I wouldn't I don't want to go anywhere right now during this pandemic. Like it's already really hard enough just to go to work.
Jess, we'll have to mail him an apple pie. You think it'll survive in the mail?
Nope.
It'll be great. He'll get this like disgusting gooey like thing that was once an apple pie, and he can look at it and feel sad because it would have been nice to have an apple pie.
And we're back for, I guess, the finale of the Dragon Prince for right now.
My Hero Academia Season 5 Headcanon Edition. We've been talking about this offline, about how great it would be to have Season 5, and since it's not here yet, we're going to bring it to you. So, Episode 1 features, what's his name? The fiery guy? Evangelion?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just surprised that Andre is in the chat. That has got to be record time.
Evangelion comes back and he goes psycho because he's so mad that he'll never live up to All Might. And he starts attacking, and the first person he takes out is Deku. So it turns out that they don't have a leader for like any of the heroes right now, because the number 2 hero that became number 1 is now evil, and Deku, like the All Might, is down. So Froppy takes the lead and is now the number 1 hero, and is rallying all the other heroes together to start a revolution against Evangelion, the fire monster. And yeah, so what do you think, Jeremy, of this episode?
Okay, on to what we're actually reviewing here, which is the title of the video. Probably killed any audience retention after that. Thank you for that. You just killed my channel. So we're talking about Dragon Prince Season 3, Episodes 7 through 9, which is really just the war that they decided to start and finish in 3 episodes.
If you're still listening to this, thank you. And if you leave a comment with your email address, my wife will send you nudes.
He's not serious? Don't do that, Jock. Don't. Jock.
It won't necessarily be nudes of her. It'll just be nudes of something.
Don't listen to him. Anybody who's actually taking him seriously. Or maybe Rising of the Shield Hero. I don't think Jock would be interested in that. Just gonna throw that out there. And no, we are not reviewing interspecies reviewers. No, I'm not gonna get myself banned off the internet.
You talking about Froppy, and like, I think if Froppy hooks up with somebody, it's okay.
You know, you don't understand what interspecies reviewer.
I don't think it counts as interspecies if it's Froppy. I know she's like a frog, but I think she's technically still fully human.
No, you don't get what interspecies reviewers is.
Are you talking about Callan and Rayla?
No, it's an anime. It's a literal anime. It's a freaking porno.
Are you talking about Zim and Bait?
you really just glossed over what I just said, didn't you? You probably heard me,
Yes.
but you're just gonna ignore it. But interspecies reviewers is like it's the closest thing anime has gotten. Like anime recently has kind of been skirting the whole um what they're willing to show, especially when it comes to female characters, considering that they've gotten more sex appeal over the course of the years. Interspecies
Mhm.
is kind of I don't know how they got away with it, um, but they've managed to. I've seen a couple episodes. They've managed to incorporate sex scenes, and I mean full on sex scenes. It's actually quite surprising.
Who would be the female between Zim and Bait? I guess Bait would have to be, right? Because Zim is a prince.
I mean, who's saying the Zim's a prince? Ignoring the footer. I know the name of the show is called The Dragon Prince. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna ignore that. Yeah, I'm going to ignore that suggestion, Andre. I don't even know what the anime is. I really don't want to go and see um hentai anime. It's all cinnamon. No, I don't think so. I think there's a definitely a difference between hentai and anime. Uh, moving on. He's already dragged me away from the show we're talking about right now. Um,
My Hero Academia?
no, Dragon Prince. The
I thought we were doing headcanon My Hero Academia this week.
no, I'm not doing headcanon because like if we talk about My Hero Academia, I'm gonna go and read the next several chapters of My Hero Academia, and you don't want me to do that. You do
Oh,
not want you do not want me doing that.
no, I don't. Why do you do that?
I like reading the comics. I've done this for years. This isn't something I just recently started. I
You eat
read
the frosting off cake before you eat the cake, don't you?
no, I don't really like frosting. It's too sweet.
You
Continuing on,
do. You eat the cake first, then.
I eat the cake. I eat the frosting on the plate. Moving on, uh, I don't understand why like reading the manga of an anime you're watching is like so bad. Like crying out loud because like I remember like when I was going to high school when I was going to school like on Naruto for instance I was reading the manga when the anime was going on, but the manga was so far ahead I decided well I'm just gonna read this so I can get caught up because the internet is a full of bunch of trolls and they will on purpose spoil something for you. I'm
If
so
you read the manga before watching the anime, you summon a demon.
I've summoned lots of demons then.
Yeah, you summon a demon, not just a demon, but a demon lord.
There's an anime literally called that has Demon Lord in it. Um, well, what about how? Wait, what about how not to summon a demon? Wow, he literally just said that in the chat.
I know.
And Duro What in the world? I don't even. Is he talking about Durara? Because I have heard of that, but I never watched it.
I don't know. It
Okay,
sounds like a
okay.
really good like.
Crave
It sounds like
content.
something Mary. It sounds like something Mary Poppins would sing. Do ro 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 do 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 do
You
ro.
about to have a
Do ro
damn
ro
demon
do do
lord
do
stroke for you
ro.
have a wow. You know what? I'm gonna ignore Andre in the chat. I mean, I will bring up the Rise of the Shield Hero, but I'm gonna just warn you now, Jock. I've already watched that entire anime through, so it probably wouldn't be fun talking about a show I already know what's gonna happen.
I guess
Because
so.
I've already. I think it's up to you. I really don't know. Like, because I've already watched that thing. I'm waiting for season 2, and they've already confirmed a season 3. I cannot
Season two
wait.
of what? Oh, the
The
demon one.
no, the Rising of the Shield Hero.
What is the shoe hero?
Rising of the Shield Hero. Shield. But we've already wasted 9 minutes of this podcast thanks to
I thought
Andrew.
you wanted to. Thought you wanted to move along with this episode.
I was, but Andre keeps Andrew, what his name is, keeps throwing in the random ideas. I'm just going to go fishy.
Andrew's
It's
a great guy.
it's about a dude fed to demons and then kills the demons to get the missing body part. What? Back to the Dragon Prince. I don't need him throwing me more shows to watch. Um, as I said before, there was a war happening in the past, present, and future, but it's all been solved. Basically, we're gonna talk about, I guess, what happened during all these events. I like to bring up that I think it was an episode, yeah, episode 7. We get reintroduced to the Sun Tribe I'd have relations with Raptalia. I think a lot of people would have relations with Raptalia, but me included. But moving on. But let's see here. I guess like, something really interesting to talk about is they bring up the Sunfire Elves, and at least not bring them up. We see them again as Varen is making his way through the desert or whatever he was like making his way through.
Hmm.
Um, let's see here. I'm not sure there's anything really important other than like what happens with Varen between the Queen, because apparently Varen brings up, well, teases that he knows what happened to their grandmother, who apparently was a previous queen, which is even weirder. That's like, so I don't know what happened to their mother and all between all that, if she's still alive or not. But what you had to say about Erebos, that entire exchange about his entire plan? Do you think Erebos has some secret plan that we don't know about yet?
I think he wants to take revenge. Like he just wants to see the world burn. In my opinion, I think his secret plan is to get a physical form in this world. I think by the end of the series, it's pretty clear that he's about to get one.
I like
The
to
worm
point
keeps
out
getting bigger.
I like to point out that during the conflict with the Sunfire Elves, when he got the staff, I almost thought he got a physical form. Because I was sitting there like, oh my goodness, he's physically on the plane. Like, oh no, he's not. No, he's not. He's see through.
I think that's called a simulacrum.
A what?
A simulacrum is what he has. And the simulacrum is an image or representation of someone or something. So he has a simulacrum normally, and then for a moment, I think he kind of like used it to possess the body of that other elf. But normally he's just like phase one was to have the bug that could whisper in his ear with his voice, and then phase two was to get a simulacrum, and then the simulacrum has been getting more and more powerful, like able to lift that staff, for example, was like almost like physical form. Being able to take over the elf was almost like physical form. And now he's got like a cocoon going where I think he's gonna like probably get a real form starting the next season if we have one. But the worm getting bigger was like sort of a representation of him getting a stronger anchor in the world. And the fact that the worm is now like in the cocoon and the worm is actually a physical form makes me think that like when this worm is done, there'll be like a full representation of him in this world. And I bet it's not even going to be him still. I bet it's just going to be his like representation in the world. It's not actually going to be his body. His body's still going to be in that mirror world.
Well,
In
I
the
guess all I can really say about that stupid creepy bug. I like how it was small until after he got the staff, and all of a sudden, he came out and like the worm was around his neck, and it was just like, oh my goodness! And nobody even talked about it either. I mean, they saw it, but they didn't even talk about it. They didn't even ask what is that around your neck. They just
a
saw
lot of
it.
people wondered about it. They tried to kill it or swat it or gave him funny looks when he was
I
talking
mean, that
to it
was
and
I
stuff.
mean that was before it became the size of a centipede, but giant
But I
centipede.
mean, there's a lot of stuff nobody asked about. Nobody said why is your skin like deathly zombie blue. Nobody said why is there like webbing over one of your eyelids.
I
I
don't think
think
they
they
can
just kind of
see the webbing. At least I don't know. I mean,
why
uh,
wouldn't they be able to see it? It's like right there.
maybe it's one of those things where it's like maybe they think he's wearing a contact lens. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of contact lenses in this world.
I don't know. And you are being ignored and Andre Fishy. Why
Oh
is he
my god,
rolling?
13737. He's speaking to us in code.
Why is he rolling a D20?
He's trying to get a natural 20.
He was closer when he did that second roll. Oh no, he's back to being closer now.
I think you either get a 20 or you don't with dice. I don't think you get close.
He got close. I mean, 19.
Like getting a 19 doesn't mean like your next roll is more likely to be a 20 or anything though.
No, I'm just saying that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that when he rolled it, like he was closer. I mean, I
If he
mean,
doesn't roll a 20 at some point, I'm going to be so triggered. If he doesn't follow through,
but yeah, bet the contact lenses in this magic word. I don't know, Jock. I don't know what's there, what's not at this point, and he just rolled a 9. at this point.
He rolled a 15 for the second time. That's the only one that's doubled so far, interestingly.
And he rolled a
Oh,
13. And he's rolled a 17. Okay, continue on with this shit.
17.
But
19. I'm sort of like mesmerized by this.
oh, he rolled a 20. Okay, you're happy now, John.
Okay, I can move on now.
Jeez, really?
I was very fixated on that. I think my life would have not been fulfilled if he hadn't rolled a 20.
But yeah, Erebos' like bug form planted to the physical plane. It's really got really creepy. Also, I mean, so far, Varen has had has the three opportunities where he's shown out what his I guess four opportunities where he's shown he really looks like underneath that guise, because even the Sunfire Elf revealed. I don't understand how that light works, but pretty much revealed like what he looks like underneath all that magic that he has on him. It's actually pretty funny. I like that queen though. She said we're gonna purify you. I was sitting there like, how are you gonna do that? And then the light from the sun just like turned to a laser beam. I was like, so by purify you mean kill? I was like,
it was almost like a holy light.
whatever it was a laser. I don't care what the interpretation was. That was a laser. That was a straight out laser. Like there is no way that was not a laser. I was sitting like, so you're just gonna kill him with a laser?
I'm sorry, Andrew just mentioned naked Froppy, and I can't think of anything else.
You should probably browse Twitter. There's a lot of Froppy art, and there's a lot of her in a bikini. I'm not even joking.
Why would a frog wear a bikini?
I don't know. That's fan art. She's not really a frog. She's a human. She's a mutant. Like, that's the type of quirk that she has. She's a mutant. But
So she's a frog with nipples.
no, she's a human with frog qualities. I think you just creeped Andrew out with that last statement. Speaking of Demon Lords, what about Devil's a Part-Timer? I've already watched Devil's a Part-Timer. I haven't watched Log Horizon or Overly Cautious Hero. I have actually heard about those two, but I haven't. I tried Log Horizon. The first episode didn't catch my attention. Or was that the other anime that was like that? I forgot. But in the Overly Cautious Hero, I seen that, and I was kind of disturbed with the constant naked man that was being shown in that anime, and I left. Yes, throw that stomach up, Froppy. Ugh. Ugh. You heard me. But pretty much actually after the laser purifying, nearly killing Varen. Oh yeah, Amaya. We actually should bring that up too. Amaya now has an elf friend. It's got 3 seasons. Huh. But
She's a little more than a friend, in my opinion, but okay. A little more than an elf friend.
I'm gonna call it elf friend until they kiss. I don't know. I always assumed Amaya might be a lesbian, but I wasn't. They haven't confirmed or denied that either. But
they held their hands together as a couple in front of the Dragon Queen.
They could have just been holding hands of friendship.
What about the moment? Well, you don't know what she says in sign language, right?
No, I don't.
There's one moment where the elf friend says something, and she says to her friend who can read sign language, she says she thinks I'm cute, but she won't admit it.
Oh. Okay. I need to finish the recent the recent season of High School DxD. But there's a 5th season of that thing coming out? Good lord. Okay, another anime that I would never review because that thing borderlines hentai. But but
what's wrong with hentai? Let's do a hentai review.
I'm not gonna get banned off Twitch. That I think that's against TOS.
You
I
can't talk about hentai on Twitch without getting banned.
yeah, they don't want nothing dealing with that on their platform.
We've talked about some pretty edgy things on this podcast.
Edgy, not borderline hentai.
Well, floppy nipples, for example.
That's right. This is the only video that ever gets banned on YouTube. I'm gonna believe you, Jock. Uh, um, God. Okay, man. Move on with this episode because of that image. Thank you, Jock. I'm being sarcastic.
Do you
Uh,
think Ariel or dark green or like pink or what?
or
Does
on
she have
YouTube
green
again.
pubic hair?
But
Does she have green pubic hair?
moving on, and no, because of her hair on her head is black. But moving on,
Green,
um,
isn't it?
no, Froppy's hair is black.
It's kind of green.
It might be one of those. I mean, Deku has green tint hair, but I don't. I mean, it looks black to me. But
No, Froppy's hair is dark green.
see, past the nearly killing Varen. Well, not really nearly killing. That was all part of the plan, which is weird. That Varen, that Erebos wanted Varen there to. I'm not even gonna read what he just said in the chat, but
Me neither.
we've already read it and probably read it 5 times at this point. But
I lived it.
ugh. But nearly killing Varen, and then Erebos getting the staff. As you said before, that bug got bigger. A lot of things happened in that thing.
It looks like he basically. I mean, they didn't show it 100%, but it looks like he basically wiped out the better portion of the Sun Elves in that moment.
I think he only killed like 3. I mean, I'm pretty sure he knocked a lot of them down. I would say there were a lot of Sun Elf dead bodies. Well, not dead bodies, but lifeless bodies on the ground. So, I mean, I don't even know. There's still a lot of them.
Well, yeah, they don't want to show death in this series because it just seems like it's one of their rules. But she definitely, like, the army that comes to defend the dragon is definitely a meager one.
No, that still looks pretty big for like the civilization that they held.
An entire civilization's army is going to be like, I don't know, was it like 50 troops?
I know, but that was still the army they still had, or the group that they still had was pretty big for how many Erebos like knocked on their backs, and they were still and the people that were still there, at least from what I could tell, were still pretty competent. So he didn't knock out like the best warriors. I mean, he probably knocked out quite a few high class ones, but from the looks of it, they all seemed competent regardless. I'm not even gonna read that either. but like first he knocked out like a good portion of their army, and then pretty much Amaya pretty much protects what's her name? I forgot her name. The Sunfire Elf warrior. I forgot her name. Dang it. I'm gonna call her Yoko for right now. He protects Yoko from going in there and nearly getting herself killed because her sister is about to go was in there and got killed. Which, by the way, that was a death they showed. I mean, she got eviscerated. That was ridiculous. How easy that was too. I think Erebos is the one that killed her too. But it just like what did he say about her grandmother? Like what did he say about her?
Yeah, that was weird to me that he knew who they were. That she knew she was related to them.
I think he whispered to her, and she just like shocked. And as her shock, was about to go away, he just burnt her with her chin. Which, by the way, that kind of is evident of how powerful of a warrior of a wizard Erebos is. That he just can just use a finger. It's in any fictional thing. If they can use a finger to kill you, then they're pretty strong. We're probably looking at like, if you're going to use anime terms, we're probably looking at like Frieza class level of power right here.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Hi, Allie. I would say overall, like his power was just basically makes him the Satan of this world.
I mean, he looks like Satan. I will say that speaking of elves in this world, I that elf that Callum met, that he met in the Dragon Queen's like headquarter, in her home. I did not know that the chick that he met in the woods earlier that got their got that arrow. I guess I should have assumed that she was an elf. But I didn't know because she didn't look like one. I mean, then again, I don't know what in this world is supposed to look like an elf and what's not supposed to look like an elf. But apparently, she's a Skywing elf, and apparently, one in every generation can have wings, and the other ones don't have them. Where they have to enchant a spell to grow wings. That was
Yeah,
a that was a very that was a very weird thing. I'm okay, so I'm glad to know that she's an elf, and she was definitely not a different type of fairy. But
I had thought she was a harpy or something. To be honest with you, or I don't know. I didn't think she was an elf, so it was an interesting little surprise bit of lore.
yeah, I mean, you said before though, like I mean, there's gonna probably be a lot of elves in this world, so
Well,
uh,
we've seen like I still think that Avaros is a star elf. So if that's true, we've seen moon, sky, fire. We've heard references to wood elves so that they're confirmed to exist. And now we've seen Skywing elves. And the especially good thing about Skywing elves is because that's the only type of magic that Soren can use right now. So that one can actually teach him a tremendous amount directly.
Soren, you mean Callum?
Callum, I'm sorry.
Um, but yeah, I also like the little like back and forth that Callum and that Skywing elf had, and he was like I can't teach you. Like humans can't use, and then as he was talking, he just brought out his electric one and just zapped him, and just the look on his face, it was
Mm-hmm.
just amazing. I had to rewind that like a couple of times because I just enjoyed that. I like how fast he drew that. But then again, speaking of how fast he drew that spell, I guess it's kind of the nerf in this world. Is that you need to be able to draw you need to be able to draw the symbol to use the magic. So it's kind of weird. Like I don't know how that's gonna be. I don't know how wizards act in this world in terms of how battle happens. Because the only type of magic that doesn't require a sigil is dark magic. Like as long as they have the materials at hand, they're capable of using all kinds of magic. Which doesn't seem like a nerf to me because if you are a experienced wizard, you can find where you need anywhere. You don't have to like be I feel like Claudia, you always have it on you so you can use magic whenever you want. But
Yeah.
so I don't really know. I think it's the only nerf to dark magic is that you probably lose literally humanity. That's the only thing I could think. Because I think from the even sounds from the Sunfire off, the way she talked about Varen and the side that we know that he like what he truly looks like, he's losing his humanity. Um, Speaking of elves, actually, I think about this too. I guess before we talk about that, Google's anime, but we I guess in episode 8, the I think it's called like the Guardian or something like that. Because apparently the Skywing they talk about the Skywing elf at the Dragon Queen's headquarters, who we find out apparently isn't that she's really sick. It's just she's just been asleep this entire time, and no one's been able to wake her up. Uh, and it's like it's really interesting. I guess a little bit of sad scene, with Zim or I forgot his actual name because Raina said it, but pretty much at first he didn't want to go in there to see his mother. I mean, which is understandable. And like, I mean, he pretty much was hatched in front of a human. He doesn't know or like what his mother's like, so like of course he'd be scared because he doesn't know what she's like. They
Mm-hmm.
end up going into there and essentially, uh, Ezrin is goes in there and he's gonna go touch the dragon, and touches the dragon, and she doesn't wake up. She's still snoring, and we see Raina actually just run out of the room because and it's revealed that this is where her parents were supposedly betraying who betrayed their clan, clan of elves. She's like she's spending her time defining herself by what her parents did, and her parents did led to her destiny. and she's gonna try to redeem them by dying. Callum, as we do know, Callum and Raina are a couple by this point in the series, and we see their relationship, have their ups and downs, and
Mhm.
essentially Callum manages to break her out of her you spelled that word wrong, Andrew, but essentially he remembers the spell that was shown to him by the illusionist mage early on in season 2, or is that season 1? I forgot when it happened, but the spell that he can see what happened in the past, and essentially
Mhm.
we find out what actually happened. And no surprise to anybody, Varen was there, and Varen actually was the one who saw them, saw the moon shadow elves, and essentially as like he pretty much trapped Rhaena's parents in ice, suffocated Rhaena's father, only to give his breath back, which better was an impressive feat. I will say that much. I mean, as horrible as that was, it was impressive how fast he did that. But
Like captured Rayla?
no, Varen, how fast he took away Rayla's parents, well, her father's like breath. I feel like he did that kind of quickly, much faster than he's shown of capable of using magic.
I
Uh,
guess so. Lord Jiren's kind of a badass, though. You don't think so?
are we talking about Varen or Erebos?
I thought you were talking about Viren.
Yeah, I was talking about Varen when he was confronting Rayla's parents. But Prince shut through an ice, and as he's about to go and destroy the dragon egg, it's apparently revealed here that it was Rayla's mother who said to keep the egg and use it for dark magic. So we see here that it wasn't even his idea to keep the egg. It was her
It was
parents.
a good move, though.
Yeah, it was really a smart move. But I think I wanna be the first one to say that you're right, Jock. The coin bag. You brought that up as like why would they that's a weird thing to be as a throwaway thing. And we now know that Rayla's parents are in that bag, which
Mhm.
now I'm even more on the idea that he did not kill the king. He turned him into a coin
It
because
seems
they
possible.
specifically at least for her parents, they specifically cut away as Varen was holding the bag and walking towards them. That's clearly showing that those are demise, that they're in that bag now.
And when you're in the bag, it does affect magic. Like you're almost dead. Like when they saw when her Rayla's brother, well, who I thought was Rayla's brother, went into the coin and the light sunk to the bottom of the water, like it stopped floating. It did continue to glow a little bit, but it stopped floating, and everybody assumed he was dead. And so you know that it does affect the magic. Like the magic does, at least to some level, act like the person died when it goes off. So it's very possible that like if the king went in the bag, that the bracelet would fall off. Bye, Andrew.
Oh, see you, dude. Okay, yeah, that was really weird. I'm convinced now he might be in the bag. Granted, Varen hasn't killed anybody. As far as I can tell, he hasn't really killed anybody.
Lord Viren,
Yeah.
he killed the Dragon King.
No, Varen didn't kill the Dragon King. That was Ezra's father.
Oh well,
I mean, yeah, he put the magic on the sword, and the
the
king was the
magic on
one
the
that
sword
was the one that
shows
stabbed
the
him. But
dragon move.
I still think that the act of stabbing the dragon is the killing blow. So I give that to the king. Um,
It does seem like Lord Varen doesn't like to do the actual killing himself. But did he not kill He killed a couple guards when they tried to arrest him.
I don't know if they died. You mean
No,
when he was like when Erebos was telling him to get to let them arrest him or whatever when they
yeah, he
first
said
got.
to arrest you, and he gave him power to resist, and then he swung and like he turned a couple of them to dust and froze one, and it shattered. He killed probably 3 guards in that confrontation.
Okay, I guess I forgot about that.
You could say that Erebos like did the killing there, but he was definitely holding the weapon that killed them. So I think Erebos gave him some power, but he was definitely that killed them. But remember, I talked about that because I was talking about how he was using multiple types of magic there. Because there was evidence of ice and fire, and when he slammed the ground, it could have been seen as air or earth or something. But he was using like multiple types of magic, and that was one of the early times that we saw a single being using more than one type. Because usually a being has control over just one. So far, like we haven't seen a being with control over more than one type of magic, except for Erebos. We've seen moon elves with moon magic. We've seen fire elves with fire magic, but nobody's had 2 types of magic yet. Not even Callum. Callum's the closest because he used black magic and air magic. But as soon as he used black magic, he had to choose which one he was going to use. You know what I mean? Like he had that weird dream, and that where he had to choose either a life of black magic or a life of air magic, and it was kind of like he couldn't have both.
No, that dream was mostly him, like he either diving into dark magic or him, succumbing to a life of no magic. It wasn't. It wasn't really until he ran into his mother, in his dream, that
After he forsook dark magic, he
that's when he
in the same
that's when he went to the dreamscape with his mother. I know, but I'm just saying like that confrontation was more him choosing who he was gonna be versus choosing dark magic or not, because that Callum was just like a dark incarnation of him after him succumbing to black magic. But
if he hadn't turned down dark magic, he probably would have not had the opportunity to learn air magic next. So it seemed like even he, although he has used 2 different types of magic in his life, even he sort of had to pick one. You know what I mean? Like he had to pick. It was until he turned down the first one that like he got the opportunity to use the second one.
I don't know what Erebus. I mean, you're saying Erebus is an elf, and I guess like he has to be. But here's my biggest issue of Erebos is that we haven't touched on the fact that that Callum's stepdad, like, he didn't say much about Erebos, but it seemed like he really wanted him to meet him, and that was before we know now. What's going on? I don't understand. Like, what's going on there? It almost seems like I want to say that letter that Callum got wasn't even really from his stepfather.
What else would it have been?
I don't know, and that's the issue I'm having, is because like Erebos is shown. Granted, Erebos isn't shown to be evil. He's just shown to be really conniving and manipulative. But that
Erebus is pretty evil.
that doesn't seem to come across in the letter that the stepfather gives to Callum. He, from what I remember, he makes it sound like he really wants him to meet him, because he knows all this magic, and we know that's him, all right, because like you said before, he's used all kinds of magic. But
He might have.
we know Erebos is trapped in the mirror world for some reason because of the Dragon King.
Yeah.
I
So Erebus probably has a lot of story that we don't know anything about yet.
I get, well, I mean, yeah, of course, but at the same time, it's just like what we've seen him do, and then what we've heard about from that letter doesn't add up. It's like it's almost like 2 different characters altogether.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is it like one of those cliches where a mirror universe has the opposite of what you see in the real universe?
I I mean, they could do that.
Is that too easy?
I feel like it'd be an easy way out, you know. But then the issue we kind of go into is, why did the Dragon King seal him into the mirror world? Because what you said is that Eros is actually a decent dude. He went in there and became what we see now. Um, so why did the Dragon King seal him in there unless Erebos is lying, which is also quite a possibility. Like like maybe maybe Erebos isn't that decent of a dude. Maybe considering he has all this magic, and we know in the cliche of any fictional universe, usually power corrupts. So it's like maybe it'd be one of those things where maybe he was a decent guy and then he got all this and he found out how to use all the magic, and then something happened transpired between him and the Dragon King. Maybe he tried killing him, and the Dragon King sit him inside of a mirror, which they kept in their bedroom the entire time to watch. Which, by the way, I guess another thing too is like they kept the mirror covered too, so it's almost like Erebos could still have affected like the world he was around as long as he couldn't see it.
Well, he needed to work through somebody to make something happen. At first, like uncovering the mirror gave him like at least a visual presence within a little mirror-sized bubble of the world, and then he was able, once he got the sacrifice, he was able to talk, and then he was able to keep working from there. So
Yeah, it's still weird. I mean, like, I'm still curious about like, there's definitely a disconnect between what Callum's father said, and then again, as I said before, he didn't say much about Erebos. He only just said that he wanted Callum to meet him. Like that was it. So it's so weird. Like I don't understand what's going on here. And another thing too is that for whatever reason, Ezran's father knows about Erebos, but Varen doesn't. And if we were to believe that they were so chummy and buddy, why doesn't he know about him? Because he made an effort, and I mean a very strong effort, to look him up, but couldn't find a dang thing because every time he looked him up, his name would just disappear. And we didn't even talk about that either. I don't even know what that was about. Like
that's a good point. I kind of glossed over that moment as like a plot device. I never really thought a lot of it.
like he made a very strong effort to go and look him up, but somebody clearly does not want him to know who Erebos is. Um, the only person that he would even get benefit from that would be Erebos himself. If as long as he didn't know who he was, he could manipulate him. So I'm just like I'm actually kind of curious. I mean, you said that he couldn't work through the physical world and he had a conduit. Maybe he has some magic that that he can do. Maybe when he's uncovered. Because I mean, Varen left him uncovered when he went to go and search for his name and all the books and whatnot. On top of that, I think even Varen even said that like I can't anytime I look you up, you disappear. What's that about? And then he immediately just glosses over it and tells them what can I do for you, and then pretty much acts like a genie. Which, by the way, I want to bring up too that genies in any context, I already know you know this, but the people who don't know this, genies in real context are mischievous beings. They try to manipulate your wish so they can get free, which is a lot of
Yeah,
times why the genie it's kind of why the genie doesn't like ever get out of the bottle because the wisher finds out that apparently they're not getting what they want. So this is one of those things where like they're treating him like a genie right now, even though he's not really a genie because he's not really granting wishes. He's just more of setting forth plans and putting them in motion. Um, I also find it weird too. The bug dude came out of Varen's mouth when he was being blasted with light. What was he doing in there?
I have no idea.
Like I'm very. I mean, I didn't say this before, but I'm almost convinced that I think.
I thought that was like a camouflage thing that he was there to like hide from the elves that would have recognized him.
But they all the elves saw that thing. And nobody even like gave him a. I've seen that before. Look, they were just all running away, screaming.
And a person looks a lot more untrustworthy to go speak to their leader if he has a demon worm on his shoulder, you know?
Demon worm. I'm sorry. That's just that word's just funny to me. But But pretty much a war happens. A lot of people die. I guess we're gonna bring up Soren. I forgot about this. Like, during the incident with like the after like the Sunfire Elves and Varen was imposing or imbuing magic power onto into his soldiers. He tries to get Soren to be the guinea pig, and then Soren just says no. He's afraid, and this is the point in which Soren starts defecting. So much to the point where after he's seeing his father do what he's doing, he ends up leaving or attempting to leave, and then Claudia grabs his hand, saying, "Where are you going?" And essentially, he's like, you know, you're changing too. You should leave with me." And she, I guess, has a breakdown of what happened last time when somebody left their family. And
Hmm.
I say that this right here confirms that she has resentment towards Soren, but she's not really willing to admit that, uh, for whatever reason. But I
Why do you
really,
think she's resentment? Like, what? How do you see resentment and all that?
I mean, it's not like hate resentment, but I feel like I mean, she when she told that story to Ezra about like what happened to them in their mother and Soren and why she's there with her father, she makes it she makes it a very a big point in her story that you know she stayed with Soren, you know because you know so before that's what she seems self important. She feels like Soren needs her, you know, there to guess to function. Um, somewhat true, somewhat not true, but for the most part, I think Soren can function on his own. But I feel like she like her connection to her father is like granted we see that now she's there with her father by herself now. So I don't really know. I mean she even says that don't make me choose again, not again. I'm like I'm just saying like why is this gotta be about you choosing? Don't you think your brother is also feeling pain here too? But he feels like
Right.
he's gotta go and do something else. I don't like it's just one of those things where like I really don't know what's going on here and it's like it's making me like her less and less. I don't totally hate
Even
her
if it
yet.
makes her more compassionate, like she doesn't want to like lose yet another family member.
Yes, she did anyway. So I don't really know like what she's accomplished here. Like she's done the things she doesn't want to do or she's afraid to do. The only thing she's
Yeah,
done at this point is not leave her father. Um, it's
but is
so
that
much. It's
the
so,
most
hmm?
important thing to her? The most important thing to her is that she doesn't lose the last family she has left.
I mean, it's true, and she saved him when he fell off the cliff, and you know, first
Hmm.
brought him back to life, which is
And
really.
she does.
Hmm?
She definitely loves her brother.
I mean, yeah, she saved his legs, which is an amazing thing to do, but losing some of her humanity.
Yeah, she gave up a lot of herself for that.
So I don't really know as like she like I think my biggest problem with her isn't her daddy issues because I said before off camera her daddy issues are making her a less likable character. Honestly, what's making her unlikable is she's unwilling to accept the truth that's in front of her. That is like right now the biggest issue is that Soren, who isn't smarter than her, is seeing the writing on the wall and got out of dodge.
Right.
Like and like she clearly is intelligent. Clearly, she's able to learn all this magic. She's able to figure out like what draws like what's the best things to use to draw magic. She can come up with magic on the fly. Um, so it's like clearly she's intelligent. She ain't dumb, but she's so attached to her. She's so attached to I guess family connection that or her lack thereof of a family connection to some people. Uh,
Hmm.
and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she doesn't resent Soren. Maybe she resents her mother. I don't know. I feel like there's some resentment somewhere in there. Because a lot of her actions don't really make sense to somebody who isn't damaged. You know, she's clearly damaged, uh, both physically and mentally, and metaphorically all at the same time. Like that's an amazing feat to have in a character. But but you laugh, but I'm right.
You're totally right. That's why I'm laughing.
So I mean I really like it's like that's kind of like my issues with her right now. It's like Soren saw the writing on the wall. And that's like, I mean, that's made Soren for me much more of an interesting character to watch now because like I want to see what he's gonna do. Uh, like I'm actually sitting there enjoying Soren more now than I enjoy like seeing Soren before. So
Yeah.
I even like that scene between him and Rayla, and she's like, you know, I was wrong. You're not a you're not just muscle. I was just like dang, Soren had the best motivational speech I've ever seen. It's like he did it in the most simplistic terms too.
Yeah, as you know, I'm not a very forgiving person when it comes to character rebounds and like character like you know that I don't forgive people very easily once I've made up my mind about them. But Soren's all right.
Well, he still got his issues, but I just enjoyed watching. I just enjoy watching him more than in the past. Um, he still got some issues got to work out. I'm a,
He does, but I appreciate him. I got a new appreciation for him.
I was just like, actually trying to figure out he was actually saying haikus during that entire speech, but I don't think he was. I think he was
I
just
can't be
speaking.
I'm like OCD about it now.
But
Oh,
um, but yeah, Soren had the best like interpersonal speech that kind of forced everybody to stay behind and fight the war.
mhm.
Uh, Zim is now when yeah Zim it's kind of funny his name is Zim now. I thought about that because of Invader Zim. It's kind of funny, but
Yeah, I thought that right from the beginning.
but
I think
yeah, Zim pretty much just stays behind. Rayla is behind with him to protect him, and Zim brings with the courage throughout the entire war to go see his mother. And
Rayla would be a really good cat's name.
you don't name a cat Rayla. I wasn't saying don't. I was just saying I don't really know if I would name the cat Rayla. I mean the name is pretty. I like the name. I just don't know if I name that cat Rayla. But pretty much Zim goes in there, tries to wake his mother up, ends up zapping her during all this, and it still doesn't work. And pretty much goes right where the egg that she would be protecting was supposed to be, and he just goes and sleeps there. And I thought that was a pretty interesting moment. I also like to speak of moments and characters, the relationship between Zim and Bait. Like that was like I was sitting there like, wow, they really just bonded. That's
I know.
ridiculous.
I really like Bim. I think they're gonna work out.
Oh no, don't let that be a thing. No, 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 no. That better not be a thing. That better not be a thing. I swear that better not be a thing. But I was like reminded to an extent of Appa and Momo's relationship. I don't think they were that close. Granted, they were also different sizes, so they couldn't really like I guess bond that well. So it's kind of funny that like I mean for right now while Zim's a baby, you know they can like you know they can bond and stuff like that like pretty closely. Speaking of dragons, that was pretty interesting that the Ray Dragon somehow found them on that Spyro and also helped them out with a hint. For a minute there, when the dragon showed up, I thought that maybe she was the Dragon Queen. And I was sitting there
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, did they really meet the Dragon Queen already? And then no, like no, apparently not. She wasn't the Dragon Queen.
He was a weird character. He was like the most like forgettable character in the series, in my opinion.
What the Red Dragon?
No, the I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the elf for a minute. Yeah, the red dragon is definitely not the king. That was kind of cool. I liked how Zim like was the only one that didn't care about the air.
Well, I guess maybe just dragons are just naturally predisposed to like having big lungs. Um,
Well, I thought maybe it's because it was his element. Maybe he had some bonus because he was a sky
well,
element.
the Red Dragon
And
didn't seem to care. The Red Dragon didn't seem like he was like it needed it needed to breathe.
yeah, that's a good point. The only reason I thought that for a second, because you're right, but like the reason it made sense to me at the moment when I'd watched it was because like I think we can confirm that he has possible likely has at least some sort of lightning breath. Is that fair to say? Zim?
I guess. I mean,
He used his he used lightning breath.
was that what that was? I mean, I thought he was just like gibbering. I mean, well, I guess it would make sense.
He shot a lightning bolt. What else could it be?
But I mean, it could just be a lightning bolt. I mean, it doesn't have to be lightning, bro. I mean, granted, we haven't seen him produce fire at all. So I mean, I guess it's safe to assume that he can breathe lightning.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of cute. Him trying to wake his mother up, and I was like, wow, are they gonna really are we really gonna end season 3 with the mother waking up? Oh, lo and behold, she wakes up at the last possible moment in the episode. The last 5 minutes. And for a minute there, I thought she was going to talk. I was like, oh, well, I guess she can't speak. I assumed because the king could. I thought she could too. And nope, she does.
I liked how kind she turned out to be.
Yeah, that was the thing I wanted to talk about. I naturally assumed, because of how mean the Dragon King was, I assumed the queen would have been the same way. But she seems to be very benevolent. She was even
But the Dragon Queen wasn't really mean either, was he?
No, the Dragon King was pretty mean. He
How so? How do you figure?
he didn't like humans crossing over like the threshold of Zadia. Like literally when Ezran's father and Varen crossed over, I mean yeah, he was gonna let them go. But he seemed very headstrong about like, because they even talk about like even like when he showed up, he attacked an entire caravan of humans.
Yeah, and they killed one of his fairy creatures.
No, I don't think he was there to see that. He was just only there because he was asleep when that happened. They told that magma titan. There's no way he would know about the magma titan undying, unless
I don't know about
unless fairy creatures have have a connection that we don't know about. But like they went there at night specifically so the Dragon King was asleep. They actually said that. That's what he went there. He wouldn't have not known about that. The only reason why he even attacked them, because I'm pretty sure he smelt humans in Zadia. Anyway, but he was there shooting lightning unprovoked. They were trying to avoid him the entire time. And all of a sudden he shows up in lightning breath or whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
He's shooting lightning. He was the one who attacked first. Regardless of the outcome. He was the one that attacked first. I mean, yeah, he was gonna let them go, but he said he was gonna be kind this one time. So clearly, you know, next time he sees them, he's gonna almost kill them. To me, the king seemed kind of mean. Like you're not a benevolent ruler if you start spouting out that I'm gonna kill you. That's not benevolence. That's just straight up being like a dictator. But but that queen though, I mean, as far as we can tell, she seemed to be very kind. She also was very. I have expected her to either say that's not my son and start attacking or something. I was waiting for the shoe to drop. I was just,
I was waiting the whole time for the Dragon Prince to wake her up. When he couldn't wake her up, I was really surprised. Like I think we all expected the Dragon Prince to somehow know how to do it.
no, nah, I wasn't.
Because they were teasing him going to see his mother and like avoiding it. And I thought that like the plot seemed like it would make the most sense if like he got there at the last possible minute and took care of it and the dragon came out. And the whole time I think they kind of wanted you to believe that's how that was going to go down. So when it didn't, I was like both impressed and surprised.
No, that's a lie. When he was in the act of like shocking her, I was like, oh, is he really gonna wake her up? But in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no way he's gonna wake her up. Like those lightning bolts don't seem like they're strong enough to like wake up a dragon of her. At least I would appear her age.
And when she did wake up, she was like for no reason though.
Yeah, I really couldn't tell you. I mean, honestly, it could have been the prince. Maybe it's just some of those like, it just took a minute for her to recharge. I don't really know.
I felt like the reason that she woke up was because it was the last episode.
I mean, obviously that's the obvious reason. Plot armor.
Yeah,
but
it didn't seem like she woke up for any other reason except that it was the last episode. That's the only slightly disappointing thing about that.
well, I think that that's the best opportunity for her because, like, first of all, she's a dragon. Second of all, she's a queen. She probably would have decimated that entire army, and we wouldn't have no reason for that war to happen because she would have just killed everything. I'm just not seeing that he said you will like Black Clover. I haven't finished that show, but there is a lot of episodes in that thing. I don't think you would like that anime. Um, but but yeah, like her waking up and then her saying like, hey, humans and elves together. She seemed very shocked. All I can say is like, this is what happens when you go to sleep for a millennia.
Pleasantly surprised, though,
Hmm?
but also pleasantly surprised. And it wasn't a millennium because Lord Viren is the one that like helped take out the king.
I mean, she wasn't even there when he got killed because like that king made it seem very. I mean, Varen even said that the reason he was up there in the first place was the queen was out. So I don't even know where she was. And on top of that, another thing too, like I guess from all that information, it's very weird. Now it seems like to me, the queen doesn't ever leave her home that often. Cause like he made a very big deal. The king made a very big deal about trying to protect that egg.
Yeah,
He was
and today of all days, and blah blah blah.
he was telling along a lot of information that he didn't need to tell. Like I mean, so like to me it seems like the queen doesn't really leave her cave that often, at least during the incubation period of that egg. She might leave at other points of times in in her lifetime. She probably doesn't stay in that cave, but it was really weird that she left during that time too. um so clearly whenever she came back, she saw the statue and then apparently flew up the mountain and then collapsed from sadness. Yeah, that doesn't really make much sense. That doesn't really make much sense either. But yeah, that was really weird. That this entire thing. I mean, I guess we could also talk about like after Varen falling off the cliff thanks to Callum. Actually, was it Callum that did that? Was it Zim
Well,
that pushed Varen off the cliff?
um,
I know he was trying to zap the energy. I know he was trying to zap the energy from Zim to infuse it in itself, and then somebody stopped him from doing that, and he fell off the cliff. And that's pretty much when Callum jumped off the cliff and pretty much learned at the last minute how to do sky wing magic.
I mean, let's face it, it was probably bait. It was Rayla. I thought it was no, it wasn't Rayla because she gets knocked back. I'm watching the scene right now. Or I'm trying to watch the scene. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. Hang on.
Hmm.
All right, so here Rayla runs up to stop him. It's Rayla. Rayla, of course it's Rayla because then she's falling with him. She
Oh, that's
went
right.
down with him.
Of course, it's Rayla. That's what makes
Yeah.
him fall off. Okay, yeah, that's when Callum jump off the cliff. But yeah, I guess Rayla sends Varen falling to his death, and pretty much we end the entire season 3 off with Varen waking up, wondering if he's dead or not, and his daughter, whose hair is now partially gray
Mm-hmm.
because she revived him.
I did like the little bit of lore that you got to find out how hair goes gray in this. And I know you got the hint with the earlier one, but like to this extent, now you have like a lot of sort of implied backstory about how this happened to Lord Viren, that he completely turned gray.
I mean,
I mean,
obviously, I mean, she's gonna by the end of this, she's gonna look like him. Oh,
yeah, it's cool to like watch like her lose her soul a little piece at a time. And
yeah,
even Callum, like, who only used it once, even just with that one usage, like the dragon could smell it on him.
yeah. I
It's like
didn't know dark magic smelled like death, but I'm glad to know. I'm glad to know now that it smells like death. So
yeah.
I didn't even
But
know it had a smell until he said you smell like death. Speaking of dragons, I was kind of surprised when they went to go and grab dragons. I mean, I know they wouldn't have grabbed that dragon who's guarding the border now because he doesn't like humans. But it'd been kind of cool if somehow they managed to convince him to come and help them. It'd be
the
kind of cool.
one,
The dragon who's missing his eyes at the border. It would kind of cool if they somehow convinced him to join them. I know he wouldn't have, but it'd been kind of cool to somehow convince him.
It would have been a little too convenient though if he just showed up to help.
I guess, but I want to see
He
more of
did.
that dragon. I really do. Like, I think that dragon's kind of cool. There's just a dragon who has a scar on his face.
Yeah,
Like, it'd be kind of cool to see how he would fight.
I don't disagree at all. I just think that like
Yeah, I know convenience. They don't like being too convenient. Yet,
it would have been crazy awkward having him fight in that fight too.
I mean, I don't know. They could just say, okay, let him fight. We're not gonna get in his way. We're just gonna back up real slowly. They could do that. I mean, they do that kind of humor in this show.
So
Hmm?
the humans and monsters were so mixed up though.
I mean, guess what? He has a keen sense of smell.
Yes. But what's he gonna do? Breathe fire? That seems to be all he knows like how to do.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that conversation he had with that wizard a long time ago, he seemed to be very capable there.
When he could see. And all he did was breathe fire then. He would have had to land and do melee fighting. Like the dragons weren't very useful in this fight. Except as like any flying
I
creature.
don't know. I really feel like those dragons should have been way more helpful because they're dragons.
But
I feel
he enchanted them with something that would protect them from dragon fire. So I get that. I get that part, but a dragon of any type was not very helpful, and I think that particular dragon would have been extra not helpful because he can't even see, so he might have been liable to do more damage than good.
I don't know. I really just wanted to see him there. I
She
get
was
your
like a
I get your
monster.
points. I get your points, but at the same time, I just wanted to kind of just it's been kind of funny. I think I needed some humor throughout that entirety of that serious situation.
Plus,
There was
the dragon wouldn't have paid attention to like the human alliance. He wouldn't have respected the human elf alliance that was protecting the dragons and protecting the dragon in the first place. There would have been super plot inconvenience to it.
I guess, but I really wanted that dragon to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I get your points. They all make sense. It has been kind of cool. Like, I mean, it is one of those. Granted, I'm pretty sure even if he did go over to that dragon, he wouldn't have followed him. He probably had told him to
He,
get away from me or something like that, to try burning him with fire.
my headcanon thing that would have happened there is the dragon would have come in, he would have started raining fire. They would have realized that fire wasn't helping, and they would have tried to explain to him that this wasn't doing what we wanted it to do. He would have not listened because he's a rage monster. And at the end of the day, like he would have they would have been like struggling to explain to him that he needs to stop. You're like, no, stop! You can't see it, but it's like dangerous, you know.
I guess also speaking to your whole thing with the I guess not being memorable. Um, I don't
You
know if
forget.
that a Sky Elf dude would have been not memorable. I don't really know. Granted, I feel like all he was really there for was to show Callum another form of magic.
Yeah,
That seems to be Callum's plot right now is that he's trying to gather as much magic as he possibly can learn.
he picked up like he has 5 spells right now.
I mean, he's shown that he's capable of remembering things like almost to the T. It's actually kind of crazy.
He's a
Like,
prodigy, straight up prodigy.
I guess he can just do it from just only seeing it once. So I don't know how I feel about like when heroes do that though. When they only had to see it once. I mean, it was cool when I first saw it with Goku, but like then it's like now they're doing it with almost every character. It's like I don't know how I feel about that. Especially when Callum kept on saying that like he wasn't good at anything. I mean, it's kind of like the whole Luke Skywalker thing. You know, he fell into his destiny, but it's just like
He was just like, for the first time in my life, I feel like I get something.
yeah, I get that.
That's pretty down.
Speaking of that, I guess now we can. I guess as we close it off here, I guess I want to discuss something. Um, it's kind of the whole thing with the sky elf, the sky wing elf, and him. Like when Callum asked for magic and he laughed at him. It seems to be a recurring thing with these fairy, at least fairy creatures. They they don't respect humans,
Humans
and
don't respect them.
I mean, I guess yes and no. But like, what I really want to talk about here is that I understand dark magic is bad and no reasoning to using it is good, but at the same time, like when you feel powerless and and you like you don't really have anything that's unique to you,
Uh,
you're going to seek out something to do or something that's unique to you. And in this case, it was dark magic for humans because humans can't use magic. Because at the time, that was going on because Calvin was the only human that we know of that can use magic right now. Um, and when you got creatures that when you ask them, "Can you teach me?" they scoff at you and then just laugh in your face. It's almost like that whole like poor versus rich, dichotomy. Like you're that's not your destiny or whatever. You're supposed to be powerless. It's like one of the reasons why when it came to that dragon, the bronze dragon, whatever his name was, at the border,
mm,
when he was telling that wizard that you need to stop using dark magic, he wasn't sympathetic to the human plight. Because he was a fairy, he was a dragon, he could use all the magic he wanted, but humans can't use magic. And
so what you're saying is dark magic matters.
I wasn't going for like the race dichotomy here, but
I just said dark magic matters. That's all I said.
I know.
That
But
there
I guess
should
another
be
thing I
some-
want to bring up too is like I feel like dark magic is going to become this thing like where firebending was bad, and he found out that it wasn't. I
Yeah.
almost feel like that's where they're gonna go with it, but I can't imagine how. Considering the dark magic draws on fairy creatures' lives, I couldn't tell you how. Especially when they keep on bringing the fact that you smell like death. So I don't even know how
Yeah.
they're gonna change dark magic into this not so scary thing.
I want to go back to the dark magic thing for a second first. Did you watch that Totally Not Mark series? Is that what made you think of this, or we just think of this on your own?
No, I just thought of this on my own. Why?
Because like this week, Totally Mark Not Mark came made that connection between poverty and privilege and magic use and things like that as well.
Oh,
That it was a sign of like class and
no,
you know.
I thought of that on my own. I know who you're talking about. I didn't actually click on any of his videos. I was afraid of spoilers.
With
I
that
saw-
video literally this week, so I was teasing you a little bit because I thought maybe you'd seen that video. But he talks. I feel like I'm cheating without calling it out because he brought up the exact same thing about magic and universes and how it makes privilege, and he was using Avatar as one of his examples.
I mean,
Now,
Avatar's a perfect example of actually that. I
yeah,
mean, they don't talk about it in actually during Aang's time. Actually, no, they actually kind of do because Aang, as an adult, they bring up benders and non-benders, which is really weird. You don't really see that a lot in that world.
uh,
But I mean, you really see it a whole heck of a lot more during Korra's reign. But you don't
all the
really.
kings and leaders though tend to be the best benders too, so it's definitely consistent there. But it's also like forbidden, and the people that have it use it like to gain power over others, and it's abused. You know what I mean? And it gives you political status if you have it. There's a lot of like really good indicators. Like for you to come up with that on your own, because I was so impressed when I heard the analysis of it from Totally Not Mark, and then to have you come out with it, like that's why I was like, it's such a profound idea that I thought maybe since the other one was so recent that you were commenting on something you'd been reading or heard about from that.
No,
But
this is something
yeah,
I've been like it's been mulling over in my mind. I didn't watch anything. I didn't even know he talked about that, and I need to go back and watch that now. But he probably makes more sense about it. I'm just because this is like more of a gut thing. Because I'm just sitting here. I'm looking at this. And I'm not condoning the use of dark magic, at least until they make it good. But
but it is like a forbidden magic that like a disrespected class is using that is having a tough time being accepted for it. Like it's almost like I know I was joking about the Black Lives Matter thing, but it's not completely crazy to think of it that way. That like that because they say we don't have any power, so we have to like take it, and you know what I mean. And there is a sense of in Black Lives Matter movement of people being fed up with like trying to work with the system and taking over like and creating their own system because everything's broken and they need to do what they can to survive. You know what I mean? Like I'm the least qualified person in the world maybe to talk about it, but there is a parallel argument that could be really interesting and made about that. So, you know what I mean? That it is the power of the oppressed in this case. You know what I mean? The power of the people that have been given no power to try to do something about it. Is that okay for me to say? I don't know.
That's fine. I mean, I wasn't
It's
saying
one thing.
I wasn't trying to correct you.
I know it's one thing to tease you about something. It's another thing to actually say something and try to be serious about it. So it's when I tease you about something, I don't mean it. So like, it's weird for me to say something like this and feel a little more serious about it without checking, to see if I'm way off.
No, that's fine. I
But
mean, like this is the thing with it. You're just as qualified as anybody else to talk about. Like, I mean, a lot of black people in communities, are calling out to white people, saying that you're on the sidelines, not being affected by this, but say something. Hearing you say it and making sure that you have their back, it means more than saying absolutely nothing. Because if they know they have white people backing them up, this isn't just a white versus black thing. This is a global thing. But
yeah,
back onto the fictional piece in the universe that we're on right now.
I
But
just thought it was a really good point you made, and I made a joke about it, but I didn't want to blow you off because you were making a really what I felt was like really good remarks. So I didn't want to like just make a joke out of it and move on because it's some pretty smart stuff.
and I just like I mean it's been mulling over my mind about this world, and it was it kind of started. I wouldn't say I started like it started bubbling in my mind like maybe back in season 2. I forgot like when the first real issue came about, or dark magic and humans not being able to use magic. I forgot when. I think it might have been when
Yeah,
Claudia started it. Is like she made a good point, and I'm just saying like in this world, as bad as dark magic is, she has a point. Like when you have like creatures out here that animals that are dangerous, and as a fairy creature, you have all this power that you can use on your own and to protect yourself. But
right.
humans, all they have is guns, and yeah,
They don't have guns in this world.
I guess not. They don't have anything to protect themselves other than arrows, and we saw how that worked with that dragon. That dragon did not give up at all. So it's just one of those things where like I'm wondering where the line is drawn in terms of like maybe, and I guess this is me. Maybe the fairy creatures should really start trying to be sympathetic, to the human plight. And now we know that we got one human that's capable of learning magic. Maybe there's a way you can like make that connection with the other humans, so that way they all could be able to use magic. They don't have to. You have people like Claudia who don't have to use dark magic. Huh. Sorry, I just had another I just had another idea.
What's that?
It's about Claudia and her father. Now, you said that, she's trying to not lose connections with, for family, stuff like that. What if dark
Yeah.
magic is her way of connecting with her father?
Oh, it 100% is.
Oh,
Her
okay, so
father wouldn't care about her very much if she wasn't so useful. Do you think? Even though he's saying no, it's not an asset. It's my daughter. Like he was certainly willing to sacrifice his son, turn him into a monster just for his little political gain. He's certainly made it clear that his son is expendable and it's okay to kill him. So he can talk about how proud he is about his daughter all he wants, but like at the end of the day, like he does use her like a tool and he does manipulate her just like he manipulates everybody else for his own gain.
so you don't think any of what so you're thinking everything he said about his daughter and like how he's showing how he cares about her is just like bluster? He doesn't really mean it.
No, but I think he will sacrifice everything he can to get what he wants, including his daughter. I think he loves her, but I think that she's not off the table for sacrifice.
It's kind of dark. I mean,
If you know what I mean.
yeah, I know what you mean, and I'll accept that. I mean, I kept on talking about this in all these last couple of podcasts. You haven't commented on it about it. This is the first time you commented on it. So,
Oh.
so I just wanted, because I was like, I kept bringing it up, expecting a response of you to retort back, but you haven't. It's the first time you retorted back on it.
I've been withholding judgment of the whole situation because it's been so complicated, and I've been just kind of letting you leave it for now because it's just like I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but like I think that part is pretty much locked in at this point. Like I think he does love her. I think that he's proud of her and everything, but I also think that he will sacrifice literally anything. How many times has he been willing to have his son get killed or hurt? And why would Claudia is a lot rarer and more valuable than a big meathead dummy crown guard, but like I think he would. I think he'd be like the last thing. She'd be the last thing he'd sacrifice, maybe, but I think he would sacrifice her. I mean, but I think part of the reason she's the last thing that he'd sacrifice is because he's the first thing that's useful to her. Like he is her greatest like she is his greatest ally. Like she is his most long-standing useful thing. But if he had to choose between her and the Sky Elf, what's his name again? Azam or whatever. Like
Oh,
if he had
Erebos?
to choose Erebos, thank you. If he had to choose between Claudia and Erebos, who do you really think he would pick?
It's
If
kind of
he knew
dark.
he had to lose
That's
one.
kind of dark. I don't want to say it. That's kind of dark.
But it's a toss up, kind of. But I think he would probably pick Erebos. He might not. It would be a final test of his character because you've seen even he gets a little bit reluctant, like when like Erebos kind of talked him into like agreeing to dominate the world.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
he
I
was
know
like,
he was like he kept on fighting back on it until he just said yes.
yeah, he
So
was kind of pushed into it. So, I mean, it would be like a final thing. Like the plot is building up to that being like something that he's not so sure about. But at the same time, he's not like, I don't know. At the end of the day, he does give up everything for his.
I'm calling it now that I think he might sacrifice himself. Now this is gonna be my argument. If we do come back to this at some point and there's another season, this is gonna be my argument. Now, yes, Varen has shown to be the lowest of the low, but it also seems like he also has some type of like not moral code, but he seems to have a line. And I know you don't feel this way, but I feel that when Erebos mentioned that Claudia was a pawn, and he fought back saying that no, she's my daughter. Um, in my opinion, a character who if they even if they did see their daughter as like some type of like human connection, and they still saw her as a useful pawn, he would have said no, that's my daughter, but she might be quite useful, like you say. I feel like he would have commented on that, but he literally just stopped there with so that's my daughter. On top of that, he's done things that have conflicted with a lot of like what I thought he was gonna do or what he was about.
Mhm.
At this point, I'm almost like I'm almost there with saying that I think he's a misguided villain versus being a tyrannical villain. Like, and I say misguided villain as that he's doing a lot of things, and like at face value they actually seem like a good idea. He seems to be committed to this idea of protecting his kingdom, and he kept this whole thing throughout the majority of the first season. It wasn't really until until he discovered Erebos that a lot of what he did started becoming a little bit more what's the word? Uh he like when he met Erebos, things became a lot more like I guess accelerated.
Things became a lot more possible. Before he met Erebos, he killed the Dragon King, stole his egg for black magic, killed countless evil like like and fairy creatures like a unicorn, for example. Betrayed the king, who was also his best friend, and either captured him in a magical prison for possibly forever, or killed him. And not just long after that, he sent his own son and his own daughter out to kill the new king and the two princes. and told his daughter that if it came to it, she should kill his son and keep the egg. The egg being only like the only thing we know for sure about the egg is that it could be used for a powerful spell, and so far we have nothing in the entire series indicating that it was like going to like help for any specific goal.
I get that, but a lot of what I mean, he doesn't seem like he. I mean, you said before, like I mean, like when Erebos was talking about when Erebos was talking
Just
about.
before he met Erebos, those are all the things he did before he met Erebos.
I mean, yeah, he was trying to go with like he was trying to go with the throne. I mean, yeah, he did all that to take over the throne and also get the egg back. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it doesn't seem like he truly wants to roll. I mean, well, he wants to roll the Earth Kingdoms. The only reason, like I guess he wants to rule Zadia is because like Erebos, put that thought in his head.
He definitely convinced him that it was necessary, but it didn't take that much convincing. He didn't even have to like sleep on it.
When you have a magical talking creature in your brain 24/7, I don't think you have much time to think it over.
He could, well, he did because originally he thought it over when he was thinking about cutting his hand and letting that guy out.
Yeah, but he wasn't in his brain. I mean, literally. I mean, he was like in like when that creature was on him.
He's whispering in his ear.
Yeah, but like that whole thing, he took that bug off of him and put it into a container. It wasn't like on him, like it is 24/7 here.
I guess so.
I'm just hoping. I mean, I already got my redemption story with Soren, so I don't need another one. But
Mm,
at the same time, I'm just like I'm hoping. What I want him to do is, I think he's gonna find out that Erebos has been using him, obviously, and he's gonna be too late, and Erebos is gonna, get rid of all the pawns except for Varen. But as he's about to kill, Claudia, he jumps in the way, and that's just like his last final act as a father. Now, what this is gonna do to Claudia, I don't really know, but I'm
Trey,
hope.
it's just as likely, in my opinion,
Hmm?
that Claudia's, or it's just as likely, in my opinion, that Claudia finally has enough.
No, I don't see it. I'm sorry. She's done too much to the point where I can sit there and have hope that she's gonna turn around. I know you
The
have
thing
that hope, but like I
no,
really
the thing
don't see it.
about Claudia is her complete lack of remorse when she does do something. That's the thing that makes me worried about her not coming back. When she does something, she's just like, okay, ha ha ha, when she goes off and like giggles and lives her life. That's the part that concerns me about her the most. And nothing seems to bother her after she does it. She doesn't like have a moment where she goes and sits and worries about it. As soon as it's happened, she seems like she's fine with like that being her life. That's her normal now.
She's upset that this new normal. Like I like, as I said before, like everything she's done, it's added up too much. And I'm not even comparing her to Azula. It's just that her, as I said before, like I'm actually kind of irritated with her constant, it almost seems like she needs Varen to stay sane. And I'm just sitting there like, why? Nothing makes sense at all. Like I would understand. This is like I would understand, her connection to Varen and her need to be near him. Because
Mm-hmm.
if maybe it was Varen that forced her to stay, I would understand. That means, Varen psychologically hurt her. But it seems like the psychological hurt isn't from him, it's from her mother. And I'm
Yeah.
irritated that it's like somehow I don't know what happened. I really don't know. And honestly, I almost got to the point where I don't even care because she is literally like, everything she's done like at this point is irritated me. Like she's a good character. I'm not gonna sit there and say that she's not. And that's why I'm irritated about it so much. I want her to turn sides, but I don't see it happening. Like she's not as far gone as Azula was by the third book, but she's getting there. I'm almost
Yeah.
certain when she like loses all the color in her hair, she'll lose it. She'll go on a psychotic break. I don't even know. I just for me, she's done too much for me to sit there and hope that she might turn on Varen because at this point, she's seen the only way I would have seen her turn is if she went with Soren, but Soren left. Now, will Soren come back? I don't know. it seems like he really does care about his sister. So there's a possibility he might go back, but I don't know. I mean, he wanted to take her with him, and she said no. So,
Mhm.
and he left. He left defeated. At the same time. So like, I mean, yeah, he probably still got his own story to go through. But like, I honestly don't see Claudia. She's already proved. Who she was. She wants to be with her father. She believes he's a decent guy. And like the only real way that I see all that turning around is that maybe Varen sacrifices himself in front of her, and it proves her right that he wasn't such a bad guy. Everybody was wrong. I don't know. I feel like a lot of her redemption has to deal with her father or her mother coming back. Maybe her mother comes back and it switches her. I don't know. But at this point, I don't even know her mother. I don't know why they would bring her mother into this. I mean, other than maybe character development, but I don't know how they would. I don't know how they'll rationalize her mother showing up out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
I can't think of a way to make it work.
So I mean, the only other person that I know of that could probably get her to switch over is Soren, but I don't know if Soren's gonna go back. Uh, that's the thing. I don't know if he'll ever go back. He left because he was afraid of what his father was gonna do. Now, granted, he thinks his father's dead, so he might go back to Earth Kingdom. I don't really know.
Hmm.
So there's still a possibility. He doesn't even know his sister's alive. At least I don't think he does.
Did you just call it the Earth Kingdom?
Earthland.
You totally called it the Earth Kingdom, and you know it.
I know I did, but Earthland. But getting my Avatar and Dragon Prince mixed up. But but
That was fantastic.
I know they call it Earth something in this world. I just forgot what they called it. But
Earth 2.
no, they actually call it the land of the humans roll, or on something.
Narnia.
No. But
It's probably not the Earth Kingdom.
I mean, if it is the Earth Kingdom, I'm like, wow, jeez, that highly. Like I said before, I mean, yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong to have hope that she's going to turn around. She hasn't, but yeah, for me, she's done too much for me to have hope. Like, I sat through the entirety of of the Avatar hoping that Zulu was going to turn sides, and I saw where that went. So
I didn't think Azula was going to turn.
my
She
honest,
didn't make progress.
in my honest opinion, she was the younger sister of the older brother. So like that. A lot of her story dealt with her trying to kill him, but at the same time, I feel like there was still enough of a bond there because he still cared about her. Zuko still cared about her. So I mean, I just thought maybe because Zuko could turn over a new leaf. I mean, maybe she could too. It would have been nice to have that kind of firepower on their side, But she went insane, so there's no turning back for her. So I don't like. I mean, Claudia is to me. She's so far gone at this point. She hasn't crossed it over to not being able to come back, but she's getting there. She is literally getting there. I cannot see any real way that her last option to get out was her brother, and she
The
said no.
difference between her and Azula is that Azula like reveled in people's pain and torment, and Claudia kind of wishes it didn't happen. Like she's not like really like abhorrent to it, but she's not like, oh goody, I get to kill something the way Azula was.
No, I get that. I'm not saying that's how she is, but like if her character, and this is why I say like I really hate that it's tied to daddy issues, because a character like that only has one way to go, and that's with the issue that she has, because it had to take something. It had to take something very psychologically startling for her to make that conversion, and I don't see there are only two options: her mother, and I can't see how they would work her in there unless for whatever reason she shows back up in the Earth Kingdom where Sora was for
Mhm.
whatever reason just to visit. I mean, because we do know this show doesn't just throw in throwaway gags or throwaway information. She was brought up
Yeah.
for a reason. Or two, her father jumping in the way to protect her from him dying, and that being the psychological break that she needs to be free.
Yeah.
because she's literally tied down by her father. She wasn't even willing to let him die. Like
Wow. That wouldn't have been my kink, but now I can see it. Literally tied down.
she wasn't even willing to let him die. You know, when it was quite clear that he was close to death.
Well, she had the means to save him.
Yeah, but the way the thing is, like, and I can already saw how it happened.
She did to make that happen other than sacrifice her life energy.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, like, when her brother was like, you know, a gimp for like a limp. Wow, that was a really bad word. Like a gimp. Dang it, a gimp for like for
Hmm.
5 minutes. She was literally pacing around the doctor's office, spouting off every single bit of unimportant information. By the way, unimportant. Who cares how you feel? You know how your life is tied to your brother. Like, who cares? But clearly, like, you know, and all I gotta say is that if they manage to convert her without Varen dying, I will stand up and applaud. You will hear it. I will literally call you up on Discord and just applaud. I will clap my hands if they somehow manage to convert her. Because I'm sitting there right now. That's why I've given up. I can't see them taking her from where she is right now. She is at the bottom. Like,
Okay, let's think about this from a plot writing standpoint.
I mean, I'm listening. I
What?
mean, you haven't said anything.
Okay, right now, Lord Viren is down to the devil and Claudia, basically. Those are his two friends left.
I'd like to interject before you continue. I like how we resorted calling Erebos the devil.
He's the devil of this episode of this series.
But continue.
So, how is Erebos is going? In my opinion, the next thing that happens next is Erebos becomes the new boss. Like Lord Viren becomes obsolete. Erebos doesn't need his body anymore. He doesn't need him to cooperate anymore. He's gained enough power and evolved enough where he doesn't need Lord Viren for anything. I think he's going to hang on to Lord Viren because he's a good crony, but I don't know if Lord Viren is going to be okay with that. So, what happens next is basically like going to be about that. So, he's going to suddenly need Claudia, and Claudia still has a little piece of her soul left. We might hate her, but she has at least something left of her humanity. You know, and Lord Viren does kind of too. It just both of them, when push comes to shove, completely betray everybody they love. So if you give it that, like, as this pure plot device, the plot needs Claudia to be worthwhile. Because otherwise, the bad guys are pretty much pure bad. They need somebody in there to make it interesting.
I understand all that, but at the same time, I just don't. And I'm not sitting. And then who has to say that Claudia has to do some, like, I guess, good, or some, she's still pure to a certain extent. Is it that her pureness is like, I really don't like how her judgment is clouded because of. And I understand that people have issues in their life and they have trauma that they uh that they sustain. But the difference between like a person and I guess out there in our reality is that they are a human. They are human. They're very infallible. And I'm not saying that Claudia isn't human and she's not infallible, but at the same time, they you don't like you might have a friend who's had psychological trauma, but you also realize that they probably won't be able to work it out on their own, or they like there's something else going on you don't know about. But the difference with Claudia is that we followed her from episode one, and we've seen what she's been about. We've seen what she's capable of. We've also seen how smart she is, and it's clear that she has a thing for Callum. But I mean, that went unrequited. So it's like, for me, her issues of her family, like, as important as they are for her character, they're really, for me, dragging her character down, making her make decisions that I don't like. Now I'm making my feelings about her, at the moment that she's doing those actions. There's obviously some overarching plot line with her, but until we get to that point, I'm very irritated by a lot of what she's doing. Now, the moment that this all comes and pays off, and I realize what all that was for, I might change my opinion on her. But right now, all I'm seeing is that she's having family issues that seem to stem from her feeling abandoned by her mother,
Mhm.
and for that to resolve itself, it would require her mother or her brother. And I'm not saying Soren won't come back for her, because it's just a possibility. Those two have been joined at the hip for like ever since episode one. We haven't seen them, avoid each other. Like anytime there was an episode, they were always together. So I mean, it was one of those things. They were always joined by the hip, sibling love and whatnot. This is actually the first time that they've both been separated. This is the first time they actually been on the opposite lines. This is the
And she
this
hates it.
what?
And she hates it.
Yeah, but it's like at the same time, like I'm sitting here having a hard time feeling sorry for her because a lot of it's her fault. She could have easily left. Now, also Soren's fault too because he left her on that side without really trying to get her to come over. Because I mean, a lot of his reasoning wasn't really 100% sound. All he said was that you know he's changing and you're changing too, and maybe Claudia doesn't see that her hair is turning white. I don't know. Um, And that's probably maybe another thing too. Maybe she doesn't see the changes happening on her, and what dark magic is doing to her, and maybe that's probably the reason. And it's the dark magic is just feeding on her insecurities. It's still annoying because I know how intelligent she is. She wasn't. If we didn't, honestly, if I didn't know how smart she was, this whole issue with her father probably wouldn't have been a big problem for me. Because I
Yeah,
wouldn't
you
have known.
were really upset when her brother did it. That didn't bother you very much.
All he had at the time when all he was doing that was, "I want my daddy to love me." That was all
Yeah,
he had. Like for
which is all she
Claudia,
has.
Claudia, no, like Claudia is shown to be intelligent, smart. But granted, she's really resourceful. We've seen this throughout this entirety of the series. But the one thing that's bogging her down is her father issues, and it's really irritating me for that reason. I just wish that she wasn't. It wasn't a huge part of who she was, or a huge part of her decision making. I understand she wants her father to love her. Every kid wants that. Every kid wants their parents to love them. But at the same time, when you have an older sibling telling you that clearly something's going on, and father might love you, but he doesn't love me, and he's seen this over and over again, but you don't believe him,
Hmm.
like there's gonna be a lot of issues. This is gonna be a lot of issues. And for me, a lot of her decision making is just based on the fact that she believes her father is making a lot of decisions for their good. And I've also seen that she doesn't 100% believe that either, because every time she says it, she kind of pauses and squints and looks the other way. So like, there's always something in her brain that's telling that it's having some doubt, but that doubt isn't enough. It's her that doubt isn't enough. Like sometimes you think that a little bit of doubt in your brain would force you over, or at least get you to think maybe things aren't as they seem.
Yeah.
And for her, it wasn't. Nothing was enough. Not even her brother telling her that something was going on. Not even her brother literally, like, bearing his heart out to her, saying that I really want you to come with me. Like that hurts. She doesn't understand that, but that hurts more than anything. Especially if you have a sibling that's trying to help you, and then they reject what you have to say. That hurts a lot. And I think for me, a lot of her character also a lot to do with her dynamic with Soren. And I kind of felt bad for the guy at that point when he was willing to book it and she wasn't. I was actually kind of I was kind of banking on the fact that the reason why she was with Varen is because of Soren. I mean, she said that she stayed with him because Soren was with him. Now it looks like that wasn't really the case. She's with Varen because she wants to be. So it's like, and clearly, and also another thing too is like I understand the Varen's a manipulator. So I mean, maybe she hasn't seen all the signs, but I still say that Soren isn't the brightest bulb in the shed. Yet he could tell all this was going on. So like I'm having a hard time feeling sorry for Claudia. I really am. I really there is for me a lot of her character. There's no silver lining for me for it anymore. I'm not all that invested with her anymore. I'm just not. I'm more invested in Ezra and Callum and Rayla or Rayla.
The
Look, and
whole theme of this entire series is about how it's never too late to start over, and you don't have to repeat the sins of your past, of your family and your fathers and parents and things like that. That you don't have to perpetuate them and make them last forever. Claudia, from a writing standpoint, could be like the biggest way that this happens. Like she could be the one that like drives this message home for everybody.
I'm not saying that she can't, but right now I'm having a hard time seeing past the red that I'm seeing right now. Looking at her,
Yeah.
I am legitimately really irritated with her, and I don't think I've ever been this irritated with a character in a fictional universe in a while. I can't remember the last time I was irritated with a character. Like, seriously, I mean, you're gonna probably bring up the bike, but I mean, that's a different story. But I
What
really
is all your denial about that fire character?
I don't think I hated Endeavor as much as I hate Claudio right now.
But Endeavor, like, he was like a completely unforgivable, terrible character that you've been in love with.
That's because I've like, the things I've seen already in the story, if when I'm hearing about him, unfortunately because of Google, um, he's like what he like well, a lot of what he's done in the past is starting to not get justified, but you can start seeing in his brain of like why it made sense to him, and maybe it's gonna take that for Claudia. Maybe they're gonna have to do maybe now maybe what I need to see, and maybe this is something that the writers can do if they ever watch this. Give me an episode clearly based on Claudia and when she was growing up. I want to see why it matters so much to her to have this fictional tight knit family, because this family is dysfunctional beyond repair. The mother got out of Dodge like early on in their childhood, literally. Like like I want to see why she's so like why she's the way she is. You know, a lot of her decision making is irritating me, but I would probably could forgive it if I understood why. Because I really
Yeah.
don't. I know the why, but I don't understand the why. Why like what's going on? Why does it seem like she's so willing to believe her father over her brother? I'm not and also another thing like to bring up too. A lot of people are gonna probably bring up, well, kids always believe their parents. Yeah, when they're like 5 years old, maybe up to 10 years old, but at a certain point they start having their own opinions. At least I hope they do. Um,
Not possible.
well, I mean, he's a father, so he probably would know better than I would. But
They just keep believing you.
I hope he doesn't. He's gonna have a hard time growing up if he believes what you told him or what you've shown him. You're a horrible person. Magic lamps, jeez. But back to Claudia. Like I just like that's only an inside joke you and me get. That's only an inside joke. But
It's still funny.
yeah, of course it's because you get it. But at the same, but like I honestly like I need an episode just focused on her and just her. I don't need anybody else in the episode. I want to know why. I want to know why. Like why like cuz maybe I would understand a little bit more, maybe I would maybe more lenient to her, but I'm at this point I'm just done with Claudia. That last bit with her brother just trying to get her to leave, and then her just turning her head and saying don't make me choose. That line
Hmm.
really irritated me. Like, why is this gotta be about you? As you can already tell, I'm already very irritated talking about it.
Why has this got to be about you? You're like so angry.
I'm sorry, I'm just irritated. And maybe because I have a sister and I'd be really upset if she did that to me. But it's just like,
I could just hear the Jerry Springer in your voice.
well, I'm just like, I really just like, I I want to believe in Claudia. I'm glad you are, because I'm glad that one of us has got to be, gonna believe in a character. You know,
it just makes too much sense from a plot standpoint to leave one person left that has to get the theme of the story, like as they drive it home. Like this story is not being done and not done being told yet. So they really need like someone there to like be the person that learns the lesson.
yeah. I
Like
mean,
everybody
I
else
already
is
got.
done.
I mean, I already. I said this when I was watching the episode. I was like, yeah, this has been a series. I mean, I said this when Rayla was like, finally gonna break the cycle of her parents. I saw that this whole
Yeah.
entire series is breaking the cycle, but at the same time, I get that whole thing. But and like, Soren's getting there, but Claudia is like, she hasn't even started. And I feel like, and I said before, you asked me like, why do I feel like she's resenting her brother? Like, I honestly, I'm getting vibes that like, because everything she's done, she's not willing to believe her brother. Now, I'm speaking from a sibling point of view. There's only a couple of reasons why, if my sister told me something, and I would believe my parents over her. One, because I know that she's lying, and she's known to lie. Two, she's hurt me, emotionally a lot of times in the past, and I'm clouded by my past jadedness, and I honestly feel like that's the reason why she, like, anytime Soren's told her anything, she's like always asked Viren first and then came back saying, I knew something was wrong. I knew something, like, even back when, like, when Soren came out as saying the fact, I knew you want me to do, you want me to kill Ezrin. She literally went to her father, and then he told her a lie, and then she went back to Soren and then called him a liar.
Mhm.
That entire sequence irritated me from a sibling perspective. And I guess maybe I'm more in my feelings for it, I guess, than you, because I know you have a half brother, and maybe you didn't spend, actually, you probably didn't spend a lot of time with them when you're growing up too. It's probably another thing, but
I have three half brothers, Nathan and Kim, which is Nathan's full brother. I didn't meet until I was like in my 30s. And then my other brother I knew since he was born, but I'm 7 years older than him.
did you grow up with any of them?
Just my just my brother Andrew, who is my half brother that's not related by blood to Nathan or Cam. Well, yeah, he is. He's a half brother of them too, though I never really thought about it until just now. No, he's not. He doesn't share a parent.
Oh, but I was
So
hoping maybe you can understand where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from with, with that whole scene with her and her brother. And maybe I'm just experiencing it in real time versus like you are. And
as
that's,
far as
I'm not saying that, like, I've, like, she's done that to me. Like, no, my sister hasn't done that. We get along pretty well. We don't really speak a lot, but I mean, we're cool with each other. But
yeah,
I would honestly, like, I'm like, seeing that play out. And there's another thing too, usually in shows like this, brother and sister relationships are always shown to be really on good terms. This is the first time. Well, I take that back. Avatar is one of those series that didn't have a good brother and sister dynamic. But so far, it's the second series I've seen, where, that dynamic isn't, and that's another thing too, brothers and sisters don't usually, I mean, siblings don't usually get along with each other, period. Sometimes they sometimes hate each other.
mhm.
But for me, seeing how much they got along in the first episode, and then seeing this play out, it's just like, and I honestly too, if she maybe just believed her brother on one of those things she had told him, and she didn't go with him, fine. I would say, okay, maybe she has some doubt in her brain, in her mind. But at the same time, even if she does
She
have,
doesn't think he's lying.
I'm pretty sure she thought he was lying, like, or he was mistaken or whatever. I still find even mistaken,
But I don't think she thinks he was lying.
but she definitely doesn't think he was telling the truth. I mean, she said, like, when he said that he thought he meant to kill him, and like, oh, I thought, well, okay, that's what really happened. Like, no, she didn't even bother to really. She shut down her brother and completely after, after Varen told her, what the abridged version of what he told him. But
Yeah.
like, for me, like, I feel like that's even more hurtful in terms of, like, that's why I'm also on the whole, maybe Soren won't come back for her. You know, it's just one of those things. Like maybe he's done with her altogether. Maybe like he's tried twice, and you know, and I will be a devil's advocate saying that you know Soren didn't try hard enough. You know, if I was him, I would have definitely tried a little bit harder to get her to come with me. You know, and you know, like there's gotta be something. You know, Soren had to,
I
Soren
don't, think
had.
it's-
Hmm?
I don't think he has time to.
I mean, he didn't
Like
have
he,
time to there, but at the same time, I feel like maybe if
he has
he
to get the hell out of
something
there.
something he could have done something. I feel like there's something more he could have done there. I don't know what it was that he could have done, but
He'd be dead. Like he had to get the hell out of there at that point.
well, I mean, dead than leaving his sister there. I think is a better option. I mean, yeah, she would
Yeah,
have still been there if he died, but at the same time, it's just like I really like the whole. I don't believe the interactions that those two had were really between brother and sister. I feel like it was between a jaded woman and a guy that she just didn't, you know, she believed she had, you know, right to disbelieve because she felt like, you know, he misheard things in the past, even though he was very distraught, very serious. Both times he told me something that he was very certain of, and you know, I know he's not that bright, but I'm still gonna believe my father over him.
yeah,
So, like that entire thing irritates me the most. She didn't believe him. And it's like, okay, clearly, you know, she's not gonna believe anything anybody says then if she doesn't believe her brother. It's literally gonna take Varen telling her to leave, you know, and I hope she takes his advice if he were to tell her to get away. Um, but even that is like, even that's like up in the air. But with that, with my ranting aside, but of of that, I'm gonna end off here. This is the final podcast episode for Dragon Prince, and probably the last
I'll
podcast
miss you
episode.
guys.
Hmm?
I'm gonna miss everybody.
And probably the last podcast episode for a while. Uh,
Well, what about the Dragon Ball Z one? Are
I
you still doing it?
decided to look at that just to make sure, and I don't really know because it doesn't have the all fights, like it doesn't have the full fight, you know, from beginning to end. 'Cause I watched the Piccolo one, and it ended right when Garlic Jr. transformed. So I don't know if you wanted just to review that fight that transpired before he transformed. I don't know if you wanted to, because I feel like if it did that for that episode, it definitely did it for the other episodes on that list. Because it's Garlic Jr. versus Piccolo. It's Gohan versus Cell, Gotenks versus Boo, Vegito versus Super Boo, Super Saiyan Goku versus Frieza, Piccolo versus Android 17, and then Future Trunks versus Android 17 and 18. I think some of these
Okay.
episodes are probably a complete fight, but I don't like that Garlic Jr. thing wasn't a complete fight.
That's too bad because I really like the Garlic Junior saga a lot.
Because I mean, it's just Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin versus Garlic Jr. I mean, the episode's called the Suicidal Course, but like actually watched that episode like when I got this DVD, and it ended right after Piccolo put Garlic Jr. against the wall and he just transformed. Um,
Yeah.
that was the entire. So that was not a complete fight. So I'm a little bit hesitant to say to watch the other ones too, because like Gohan versus Cell definitely transpired over a couple episodes. Gotenks versus Boo might be one complete fight. I think Vegito versus Super Boo might be a complete fight. I think the Goku versus Frieza might have been one complete fight, but it's hard to say. Cause I mean it's Super Saiyan Goku, so I mean I think that might have been one episode. I don't really know. Piccolo versus Android 17 though, that might have been one a complete episode. I don't really know. Cause I thought those actually the fights taken out, and no, they just got episodes on here. Which explains why it was only for $3. Cause I was looking at this in the $3 bin, I was so confused. Well, I guess we'll discuss that later. I've got something else I'm working on that I want to, it's gonna be like a solo project. So
Okay. I understand you're breaking up with me. I understand.
no, we're gonna come back when either season 4 comes out. Hopefully, maybe it'll come out like when when I wake up tomorrow.
Do without an anime assigned by you to watch.
You can sign
Jesse
your own.
keeps
You can.
Jesse keeps going, you need to get Jeremy to give you a new anime to watch. She's
There's
like,
no way
he is
she's.
really.
There's no way she's saying that.
She is literally saying that. You can confirm with her if you want. But she loves the animes that we watch together.
I mean, a lot of the animes that I could recommend are very long. I know you said that you don't have the time or the attention span to like watch something very long. Granted, I still fight back on that because you watched Dragon Ball Super, and that was a very long anime. But I mean, I might.
Yeah, I watch it a little at a time. Like, I wouldn't want to catch up on like 100 episodes of something.
I mean, I need to look at the episode lengths of Yu Yu Hakusho because that's a very, very old anime, and that was around when Sailor Moon was in America. Uh, so it's got a very old animation style. You guys might like that because it starts off. It just
Is
starts
that the
off
one
really
where
good.
the characters are totem animals?
What?
Is that the one where the characters are all like, not totem animals, one of the animals from the astral signs?
No, Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean, there's a fox in this show, but that's about it. That I remember. But I wouldn't really want to review that because I've already watched that show like twice. So for me, it's like I mean, if you guys want to watch that, that's something you could probably like watch if she wants to watch something with you. 'Cause
Yeah.
I like to actually hear what you guys like think of that anime as a whole. If you were to finish it, but I would need to look into how many episodes that thing would be. And I mean,
Would you
then
ever watch an anime that I picked that you haven't seen yet? And watch one through with me that like I'm in on, but you're not? Watch 2 or 3 episodes a week.
I don't know. Anime episodes tend to be long. Uh,
Like I said, 2 to 3. So it could be 2 or it could just be 1 if you want.
I mean, I think you recommended something, but I never got around to it. I said, I think you probably threw around Read or Die so many times, and I said I need to get around to doing that.
Read or Die is pretty good. You finally watched Morbido, right?
That's the anime name I keep on forgetting, and I'm being serious. Anytime I thought about that, I was like, "What was that anime name?" He kept telling me to freaking watch. Never remembered it. I'm not
Will
gonna.
you watch that one and like review with me like 1 or 2 a week? It's a really good series.
I mean, I would have to see how the first episode pans out. Well, actually, the first two episodes, how they pan out. 'Cause,
Watch 2 episodes and tell me if you want to do it.
I mean, can you give me a
I know.
link? And actually, we're still live. See you guys later.